interested in how Haba has been progressing. You know, we talked 2 weeks ago about his recruiting, but how is he playing? You know, is he playing less? Is he playing more?
It varies week to week, but he's somewhere averaging probably in that 30 to 40 rep range, 20 to 40 rep really, and it just depends on the style of offense we're playing. You know, when you're in that redshirt freshman year, you tend to hit plateaus and then hopefully break through it and kind of make a jump in terms of how you're playing. But he's progressing along nicely, and I think he's ahead of the curve relative to most redshirt freshmen, and I'm happy with his progress. I really, and he had a great practice this morning.
What style of offense would he play against? Which style wouldn't he play against?
No, I think he can play against any of them. You know, I think one of his strengths right now is simply stated heavy contact. You know, a heavy running team on a closed side. You know, we play a lot of field and boundary, so if a team tends to close or put a third guy on the line of scrimmage to the boundary, he's certainly good at that. You know, but again, he's also shown he can rush the passer and beat blocks and play the spread. So, but I feel really good about him when it's contact on contact, if that makes sense. You know, where I know he's going to get blockers coming at him from the line of scrimmage. I feel really good about where that part of his game is right now.
Charlie, Pat said yesterday that Boston College kind of is this old school kind of ground. Is that like a rare deal these days? And
you know, honestly, my perspective may be unique because it reminds me of practice the 5 years I was at Wisconsin. What they do and kind of their style of play. They run, you know, what a lot of the NFL calls a push play. You know, where there's basically they're doubling everybody up front and waiting for the linebackers to fit before they come off those double teams. So you got to stop the run first, and we all certainly know about their running back. He's a great player. That guy's probably going to play for a long, long time. So our challenge this week is to get them behind the sticks because, like a lot of teams that are committed to the run game, they're really happy with 2nd and 6. You know, so we got to remember that and do everything we can to try and create negative plays, which they don't allow to happen that often. So it's a great challenge.
Does Dylan remind you of any of those running backs you coached?
You know, you'd have to probably look back. I don't know if you remember a guy named John Clay. He vividly reminds me of John Clay just in his size and his style. And for a guy that big to be able to make people miss is pretty unique, pretty special. It's why he's up there in the nation in terms of what he's accomplished this year and really his entire career. He's a great player.
John Clay, that's a throwback.
Yeah, yeah, it's because I was there. That's what made me think of it.
Has their offense changed at all whenever Brown went down with the injury at quarterback?
Not a lot. I mean, they're really committed to their plays, you know, so I really don't see a huge schematic change with him. You see some of the things that he can do. He's pretty mobile. He's willing to, you know, run with the ball a little bit more past the line of scrimmage, I think, than maybe they were before. But we're not looking at a lot of their games either because he's taken over the last 5 weeks, and we tend to peek back towards the end of our prep at what they were doing earlier in the year and use the most recent games that are similar to what our defense looks like.
You know, speaking of, we've talked to you a lot, so
Sure.
I'm coming up with things. But the true freshmen, you know, Bam and Kalijah, I mean, how are they coming along this year?
Really good. I mean, you know, they're really in that kind of that stew, that developmental stew where everything's coming along, how to handle what is a long season for them and the expectations, the academic expectations at this level. They're all working through all those things, but those two are standing out. You know, DeAndre Jules is working to be consistent, but I'm excited about what he potentially can do. I'm kind of scrambling. Nate Temple is really working hard to get better. So that whole young crew, I'm excited about what they're getting done and kind of excited to get my hands on them a lot more during bowl practice, to be honest with you, when we start getting into more developmental periods.
Those bowl practices, I mean, is that the most important time for guys like that haven't played a lot this year?
It's a big part of it. I mean, that's certainly the advantage of getting to a bowl game is theoretically you have, another spring ball, and that's the disadvantage if you're not able to make it to, a bowl game is you lose all those developmental practices while you're working to, get a nice win for the university and for our kids that are finishing up their careers with us.
You've got some younger guys on the line, but with Amir being a senior, this defense is populated with kind of seniors who have been key contributors. I mean, what can you say about Amir and then also just that group in general?
Yeah, I mean, Amir is someone I couldn't be prouder of just in terms of how he's grown as a whole. All of us get into coaching I think most of us get into it for developing men, and Amir, since the day I walked in the door to where he's come now, just in how he handles his life. I'm really, really proud of him. And he's really obviously been a great contributor this year, just in terms of how he's played. I think about Salim Brightwell and that this whole senior class, while it's a small class, it's a group that we take a lot of pride in because they've come a long way, certainly in my now going on third year. And I can't even imagine what some of them were like before that. So I'm proud of the whole group.
You guys don't get into coaching for the media opportunities.
No, but I look forward to this, Jerry. I really do.
How long did it take your guys to shake off the loss? Your particular room.
You know, I mean, I think the sting is still there to a degree. I mean, but you know, youth tends to have a shorter memory than I think those of us as coaches. I think it tends to be harder. It's always been this way. I think it's harder for coaches to get over at times than players. Players are able to move on to the next thing. Sometimes maybe we're a little irritable or frustrated because you know, we didn't perform the way we wanted to perform. But you know, I mean, the bottom line is today they came out and they were on the practice field and they were playing hard and practicing hard, and I liked what I saw today. It was like last Tuesday. I mean, I didn't feel a difference in their urgency or how hard they were practicing, which is a good sign that Tuesday is Tuesday. It's the standard. I mean, this is the most important game because it's the next one. We're playing Boston College. So the cliche I said last Tuesday really applies to now, and I think our kids are responding to that by coming out and having a good Tuesday practice.
You mentioned Salim earlier. What kind of impact does he have, you know, his veteran leadership on the field with your group? You know, considering he's the mic and he's directing.
The guys have a lot of confidence in him getting us set, and you know, we do everything we can to put our defensive front in good positions. So there tends to be a significant amount of checks and changes based on what we're seeing from the offense. And Salim really has done a great job handling that this year. And I think you could argue he's one of the emotional leaders on our entire football team. You know, when he speaks in the locker room or a team meeting room, wherever it may be, he's coming, you know, directly from his heart. There's no filter. His heart, whatever is on his heart, is coming, you know, out of his mouth. And the team knows that. They know where he's coming from. They know he loves this place and wants to see us do well, wants to see everybody do well. And because it's so sincere and so heartfelt, both sides of the room, offense, defense, feel Salim. And that's what you want out of your seniors. Thanks, guys.